Individual time trial over 45 punishing kilometres in the Tour de France.
The Tour de France has come down to a battle of seconds. The only question remaining, will it be the Italian Claudio Chiappucci or will it be the defending champion, Greg LeMond? Hello again and welcome to our coverage of the Tour de France. We've now moved outside of Limoges to the very hot interior of the Limousin here on the shores of Lac de Vassivière. Surely the final showdown today, and this will decide who will actually win the Tour de France tomorrow in Paris. The principal actors, Greg LeMond, 5 seconds behind Claudio Chiappucci of Italy. The time trial, as you can see, already underway, but the two top riders, well, they start in the last two positions, and naturally enough, we will concentrate on them in a few minutes' time. There's also a great battle, though, going on for third place as well. Pedro Delgado just a few seconds behind Eric Breukink. Delgado told us last night he wants that third place because he wants to be on the podium in Paris again. And I'm quite sure, too, that Eric Breukink wants to finish third. Well, last night, Paul Sherwin spoke to both Greg LeMond and with Stephen Roach putting the questions in Italian to Claudio Chiappucci as well. Let's start with Greg LeMond, who looked extremely tense when he was talking to Paul.
Greg, how much time do you expect to take out of Chiappucci tomorrow?
Don't ask stupid questions like that. I'm going to take as much time as I can.
Do you expect...
Do
you want...
I don't think any. Maybe he takes time out of me.
Do
you think it'd be possible to take time out of LeMond in the time trial tomorrow?
Okay, anything could happen, you know. If I feel like I did today, it could be a miracle.
Do you expect to win the time trial tomorrow?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know, really. I can't. I feel good. I feel very good. But, you know, this Tour de France has been very bizarre, and I'm not 100% on anything. So I'm taking it very cautiously, the time trial. Not cautiously in the sense physically, but I'm taking it very prudent, you know. I don't know who's going to be strong tomorrow. I'm sure I'll be good.
And do you realize that LeMond is actually scared of you?
Yes, I know that already. If my legs keep on going, it would be great. I could get a very good result, but it will be difficult to match LeMond.
Greg, you've got stronger as the tour's gone on. You must feel confident as you go into the time trial with just 5 seconds.
No doubt I feel confident, but I don't want to predict or say anything until it's over with, because Fignon made the mistake last year predicting that 20 seconds was enough, and it wasn't. So you never have enough time. You can't ever have too much time in the Tour de France.
These really are tense moments in this year's Tour de France now, just 24 hours away from the big finale tomorrow on the Champs-Élysées. Very early this morning, both Greg LeMond and Claudio Chiappucci were training around the course alone. They didn't bump into each other, but I'm sure they were learning every inch of the route. You know, in 1985, Greg LeMond rode on this very course, and it gave him his very first stage win in any Tour de France. His victory margin then, just 5 seconds ahead of Bernard Hinault. If that were to happen now, both riders would leave for Paris tomorrow absolutely equal on time. Doesn't bear thinking about, does it? This is the route then. It's far from flat. It undulates right around the lake. There is no room to recover from a bad start. It's a very difficult ride, and it's 45.5 kilometres. And here is Greg LeMond in the start house of what he will see as one of his most ever important time trials. Almost a repeat of a year ago, fighting back from second place and searching for victory in the Tour de France. The countdown for Greg LeMond in the start house as he chases now the 5 seconds. The timekeeper just in front of our camera, but Greg LeMond is now off on the time trial, 45.5 kilometres. And the time he is aiming for as his target time, but one he will not be over interested in, is Dag Otto Lauritsen's 1 hour, 4 minutes and 41 seconds. The start behind him, of course, will be Claudio Chiappucci, 3 minutes behind him in the start house. And Greg LeMond, Paul, you noticed straight away he hadn't had a shave this morning.
Well, that's one of the old wives' tales of professional cycling. Probably something he learned from Bernard Hinault. You don't have a shave the day of a big time trial because they say it saps your energy. So LeMond this morning has put every chance to his side to make sure he can take the time back from Claudio Chiappucci. He didn't even have a shave.
So the world champion is on his way. He came from second place to win the Tour de France by 8 seconds last year. He starts this Tour de France 5 seconds behind Greg LeMond. We're looking now at the situation at 22 kilometres, and Miguel Indurain has gone into the first place here. He wasn't in first place at the previous check at 10 kilometres, but now he sets the style as he did at Villard-de-Lans, where he won the time trial there. He's now the fastest on the course so far. The best time already in by Dag Otto Lauritsen with 1 hour 4 minutes 41 seconds, and Greg LeMond now settling in to a heavy rhythm, 50 kilometres an hour. Claudio Chiappucci gets the count of one and departs exactly 3 minutes behind Greg LeMond. Claudio Chiappucci, 5 seconds of difference, and now the two principal actors in the Tour de France are out on the course. Well, this is Claudio Chiappucci, and at the 10-kilometre check, which he has just passed through, the news is not good. Greg LeMond has gone through, ahead of him on the road, 11 seconds faster. So that makes Greg LeMond at the moment the yellow jersey in the Tour de France. In the battle for third and fourth place, Eric Breukink has gone through 36 seconds better than Pedro Delgado. Well, here's Greg LeMond settling down into his very familiar time trialing position, and the news is excellent. Greg LeMond, in fact, 25 seconds ahead now of Claudio Chiappucci, which gives him the yellow jersey by 20 seconds. Miguel Indurain coming up to the finish here, just like he did in Villard-de-Lans, and his time is going to be the fastest up to date. He's taking on the best time set just a few minutes before him by Ruiz Cabestany at 1 hour 4:08, but 1 hour 3 minutes 20, the new best time by Miguel Indurain. And as we look at Pedro Delgado, this is the overall situation at 22 kilometres. Eric Breukink, the best time, but LeMond 27 seconds slower than Breukink, but in fact is 31 seconds better than Claudio Chiappucci. And here is the arrival now of Raul Alcala, who has been setting some tremendous times out on the course, the best time at all of the checkpoints. Alcala is going to take the lead here. Remember, he won the first long time trial of this Tour de France, just on the German border between Vittel and Epinal. It looks like he's going to get inside Miguel Indurain's time by quite a long way. 1 hour 3 minutes 8 seconds, best time for Raul Alcala. Well, here is a chance to see Eric Breukink now, and for him too, his quest to keep his third place in Paris is looking extremely good, because he is setting good times at every check. He was the second best time at 22 kilometres, 1 second slower than Raul Alcala, who's already home with the best time. But more important than that, he is now 1 minute and 22 seconds faster than Pedro Delgado. Well, Greg LeMond is now 8.5 kilometres from the finish of this time trial, and he is looking extremely good. There is confirmation. 33-kilometre point. Greg LeMond leads Claudio Chiappucci by 1 minute and 17 seconds, Paul, and he's in the yellow jersey by 1 minute 12.
Well, that's a fantastic ride by LeMond, but we look here at Chiappucci. He looks as if he saved a little bit for the end. The end of this time trial, from all the riders who've come in, have said it's absolutely murderous. It's really hot out there, and the road is very sticky.
So the race is now finally poised. We will take a short break. Come back soon.
This is the most exclusive piece of designer clothing in world cycling, the yellow jersey. Although to be strictly accurate, this one at the moment is still just a yellow jersey. It won't become the genuine article until after today's stage is over.
When the race leader steps onto the podium to kiss the girls and take the applause, the jersey he's presented with carries the correct logo no matter which team he rides for. And no matter what size he is, it always seems to fit when the race starts the following day.
That's because, singular though it may be in terms of athletic achievement, the yellow jersey actually comes by the van load. The
The unglamorous inside of a Tour de France truck is where each day's jersey is personalised, and even then there are two versions. The racing jersey has the rider's team colours applied using a heated press. For the presentation edition, a simple transfer is used to save embarrassment in case of a late change in the lead. The 9 stages on this year's Tour, though, there was no change. Steve Bauer's back in 7-Eleven colours now, but since riders are allowed to keep their yellow jerseys, he'll be heading back to Canada with a suitcase full.
Well, I'm sure some people back home in Canada are going to be bugging me for one, that's for sure. Maybe I'll give some to my teammates, you know, I'd like, you know, because they supported me in the first weeks.
So did your wife have to bring an extra suitcase to take them home with you?
Well, there's still, I think the Swan Years van's pretty full of them. Those a lot of Lions, too, they take up a little more space than the jerseys do.
Neither Bauer nor anybody else can match Eddie Merckx's yellow jersey collection. On the way to his 5 Tour victories, he won 96 of them, which translates as more than 3 months in the saddle as race leader. Of course, those of more modest athletic ability can always take the 260 franc shortcut, and there'll be plenty of these on the Champs-Élysées tomorrow. Only one, though, will be on the right side of the crowd control barriers, and the right to wear it has still to be decided conclusively in today's time trial. That's where we go now.
And the arrival now of Pedro Delgado. He's outside the time of Raul Alcala, and also Delgado's times along the course are not indicating he is going to come near approaching the 3rd place overall position of the rider on the road behind him, Eric Breukink. So Pedro Delgado, who finished 3rd in last year's Tour de France, is going to have to be content with 4th place this year as he comes up to the line with a time of 1 hour, 5 minutes and 1 second. Good enough at the moment for 6th place. And here is Eric Breukink coming in now. He looks very, very cool indeed on his low-profile machine with that rear disc wheel. Interesting to note today that neither Claudio Chiappucci nor Greg LeMond have chosen to use these disc wheels, but Breukink only showing slower times than Alcala out on the course. But look at this. He's had a tremendous finish at Eric Breukink. He might sneak this one. He's going to come up to the line, and his teammate Raul Alcala's lead at the moment is very much in doubt. Eric Breukink is going to win with the best time. 1 hour, 2 minutes, 40 seconds. That certainly has confirmed his 3rd place in this Tour de France. What a superb end there by Eric Breukink over those last 6 kilometres. And Greg LeMond, who's looking a little bit tired now on the slopes, coming up towards the finish, will hope that Claudio Chiappucci does not have the same revival. This is the situation. 1 minute 43 seconds now. The gain here by Greg LeMond after 40 kilometres. That gives him the yellow jersey by 1 minute and 38 seconds. This is the situation at the moment at the finish. Eric Breukink, who's just finished with that great ride, 1 hour, 2 minutes, 40 seconds for a ride of 45 kilometres over this terrain. Unbelievable. Alcala 28 seconds slower, but the PDM team have 1st and 2nd on the leaderboard. And also the time done by Gianni Bugno of 1 hour, 5 minutes, 52 seconds is not good enough for him to keep his 6th place overall. He'll lose that tonight to Eduardo Chozat, who beat him with a ride of 1 hour, 5 minutes and 7 seconds, and that was quick enough to claim 6th place on the overall classification. Well, I don't know how Roger Leger can look quite so calm, Paul.
Well, I don't know that he was all that calm at the moment. He's probably really turning his stomach over inside. Now, as you see, as you get onto the flatter part of the course before we come up this final little climb to the finish here at the Lac de Vassivière, LeMond gets down into that crouch position that he made world famous last year in the time trial, where he took the lead of Laurent Fignon in the last time trial.
But it all depends, Paul, how much Claudio Chiappucci loses over this last couple of kilometres, because, in fact, his times are now going so far away from Eric Breukink that he is in danger of losing his 2nd place in the race at the moment.
Well, that would be a shame for Chiappucci, because he's brought us a lot of excitement over the last few days, the way he's risen to being such a man in that yellow jersey. We flick back to Greg LeMond here. He's getting right down into that aerodynamic position and fighting all the way. He's looking back to Leger to see if Leger has any last time checks, just to let him know where he is. LeMond has been very worried about this time trial. He didn't know which bicycle to adopt, which is why he's got two different low-profile bicycles on the car at the moment, one with disc wheels, one without disc wheels. I think both of these riders have got so much to lose in this Tour de France that they've stuck to the normal, an average Commoner Garden Road bicycle.
Well, Chiappucci's time, by the way, he's now inside a minute of losing second place overall after that fantastic ride by Eric Breuging. Here's the arrival now of Greg LeMond, and he's racing now to the yellow jersey, which he's raced for since the very first day. He's had to remove over 10 minutes off the lead of Claudio Chiappucci. It has taken him almost 3 weeks to the day to do that, and now when he crosses the line, he will have done it. And tomorrow on the road to Paris, it will be Greg LeMond, the American, in yellow. Fifth best on the time. You could probably hear the cheers here. 1 hour, 3 minutes and 37 seconds. That should be enough now to give Greg LeMond the yellow jersey. Still, of course, the arrival of the race leader out on the road, Chiappucci, to come. And just look at the cameras in the sky there, hoping they're hitting the man sitting on the road, as we look to the right of our screen and see the lonely figure of the yellow jersey of the Tour de France this past week. He's risen from a mediocre athlete to a great, great rider. He really shocked LeMond in the Pyrenees when LeMond thought he would have walked into that yellow jersey. Instead, he didn't even take it. There is Greg LeMond to the cheers of the crowd. Now he's going to sit down and wait. He's done this before. He did it on the Champs-Élysées a year ago, waiting for the arrival of Laurent Fignon. And he knew before Fignon hit the line, just 75 meters before he hit the line, he had won the Tour de France. I think, Paul, all being well, he'll have a little bit more room today.
Well, I think he'll have a little bit more room, and it'll be a lot more relaxed Greg LeMond we see tomorrow at the start of the stage for the Champs-Élysées. There's about a minute to go now before Claudio Chiappucci's time runs out, but he's also got probably only 4 minutes to go before he loses that second place, and it would be a pity to see him lose the second place in the Tour, because this little climber from Italy has really been a big man.
Well, I know for a fact that back home, just outside Milan where he lives, the wallpaper in the house has been changed to yellow. There are ribbons decorating the outside of the house in yellow, and his mother has said, "I just hope he does well." Well, I think we all agree he's certainly done well. Nobody wants to see him lose his second place overall. Wait till we see the clock on the screen, and then we will work out the time he has got to do to A, retain yellow. We think there's no chance of that now, and B, retain second place. This is the situation of the riders who have finished. Greg LeMond only in fifth place. He won this race here in 1985, but of course then he was racing to only second place in the Tour de France, behind his teammate Bernard Hinault. Now he's racing into yellow. The crowd here that have absolutely boiled in the sun today. It's supposedly the hottest place in France today, 36 degrees Celsius.
Well, on the finish line here, Phil, the clock just said 1 minute, 1 hour and 3 minutes. Well, Chiappucci's got 2 kilometers to go, and there's no possible way he can do 2 kilometers in 30 seconds. But can he do those 2 kilometers in 2 minutes? Because really, he's got to try and keep on to this second place, because it would be a pity to see him lose it.
I think the only one who wouldn't agree with us there, Paul, is Eric Breuging, who is also standing at the finishing line. Starting out today, trying to make sure he kept third. He now has a real chance of going one higher and second. Either way, these three great riders of the Tour de France should share the places of honour on the tribune of honour on the Champs-Élysées tomorrow for what will be a great finish. And don't forget, by the way, be with us tomorrow night on Channel 4 for our full hour coverage of the great arrival at 5:30. And right now we're watching for the arrival of Claudio Chiappucci. He is already out of the yellow jersey. The clock approaching 1 hour 4 minutes. His elimination time was 1 hour 3 minutes and 26 seconds. So that's gone by. But now he's got to make sure he doesn't lose the difference and lose his place now. And Paul, you've worked out the time he's got to do.
Well, Chiappucci's got to cross the line in 1 hour, 6 minutes and 11 seconds to keep hold of his second place tonight. He's got just less than 2 minutes to go now, 1 minute and 50 seconds, and we haven't yet seen the red kite with indicating 1 kilometre to go. So Chiappucci's got a long way to go, and it's a very hard finish up here to the finish at Lac de Vassivière.
Well, Paul Sherwin should know because he rode this race in 1985 when Greg LeMond was finishing with his first ever stage win in the Tour de France, and Paul said then there is no easy way to ride this course. It is so difficult a time trial, and that ride by Eric Breking is unbelievable.
That is a fantastic ride that Breking has done. He lost a little bit out in the mountains. I think if he hadn't had a bad day in the mountains, he could well have been the man to have challenged Greg LeMond, because Breking's time trialing in this Tour has really been exceptional. When he was with Peter Post, they said that was Breking's weak point, but I think now in the years to come we may well see Breking be a major challenger for the Tour de France.
And maybe this man too, Paul, Claudio Chiappucci, 81st in his first attempt at the Tour de France last year, now set fair for a top 3 finish in Paris, and he has to beat 1 hour, 6 minutes and 11 seconds. The clock is saying here at the finishing line 1 hour, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. He's inside a minute away from losing his second place, but he's only 250 metres from the line. So Claudio Chiappucci is going to salvage second place, and we're all happy about that. There's the time of Eddie Breukens. Remember, 1:06:11 is the time he must be. He's going to do that easily. As Claudio Chiappucci comes up towards the finish now, rightfully claiming a top 2 finish. He's got a ride to Paris, of course. So too as Breukens, so too as Greg LeMond. But it should be a routine day tomorrow. 1:05:58 for the Maillot Jaune in the Tour de France. Not good enough to stay in yellow, but good enough to keep his second place overall for tomorrow in Paris. What a marvellous time trial that turned out to be. Let's have a look first at the stage result. A win for Eric Breking from the PDM team. He keeps his 3rd place, and he still might get 2nd. 2nd today, his teammate Raul Alcala. 3rd, Marino Laggioretta. Great ride by him. And Greg LeMond finishing only 5th. Well, of course, Greg LeMond has got what he came here for, the yellow jersey. And Paul Sherwin didn't have to fight this time because Greg came to him.
Greg, now that you've got the yellow jersey, you must be relieved after all the tension from the last few days.
Oh, that's for sure. It's like a big pressure off my shoulders right now. I've been so nervous. The last since losing already down. Actually, since I had that near loss at the Tour de France with my flat tire, I've been very nervous and very worried.
But you had a lot of up and downs at the start of the year, and when you came to the Tour, were you convinced that you could be up on the podium at the end?
Oh, after the Tour of Switzerland, I knew that I was going to be good, yeah. When I got 2nd in the prologue, I knew that I was going to have a good Tour, but you just never know. The Tour is always a surprising thing. Usually, though, in the end, it works out, and the strongest usually wins.
Do you ever think what kind of a rider you would have been if you hadn't had 2 years out with that dreadful shooting accident?
I feel that I've proved myself that I'm as good as I feel that I'm as good as all the past so-called big champions. I do my season a little differently. It's something I'll never be able to know. You know, being out those 2 years, all I know is that I feel whatever happens, happens for the best. And I know that a lot of very good things came out of that hunting accident. A lot of things changed in my life, and I have different priorities. And I don't ever look at anything in regret. It's like when the first Tour de France in '85, I almost supposedly won, but Hinault, I worked for Hinault, and he won it that year, and I always could say right now I could have 4, but it could have changed my whole career. One victory could change your whole career, the way you look at things, so I never look at things that way. I always look at it as whatever happens, happens for the best.
Well, it all looks rather familiar now, doesn't it, seeing Greg LeMond in that leader's yellow jersey, and tomorrow, of course, is grand day out, the ride to the city of Paris at the end of the Tour de France. But it'll be a hard day out for Claudio Chiappucci. It seems he's always under pressure. Now it's from a new name, Eric Breking, just a few seconds behind him. And if I know the PDM team, they will try now to get Breking up into 2nd place. So this race is still not over and done with. We have a great programme for you tomorrow, coming, of course, from the Champs-Élysées and the arrival of the Tour de France. Joining our hour programme, starting at 5:30, we'll have the sights and sound of the Tour de France, a look back at the whole race, and we'll be celebrating with Greg LeMond that very special day in the life of a professional bike rider. Do join us tomorrow night, but for now, it's goodbye from Limousin.